And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Westervelt versus Weaver. Step forward, please.
20-year-old college student Michael Westervelt is suing fellow college student Brian Weaver for pain and suffering. Michael says Brian damaged her hearing when he set off a firecracker.
How old are you?
22.
You know what your IQ is? You know what an IQ is?
Yes, I do.
Do you know what your IQ is?
No, I don't.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a bellman at a hotel.
How long have you been steadily and gainfully employed?
4 years.
Do you live alone?
Nope, I live with 2 roommates.
Do you pay your bills on time?
Yep.
Do you drive a car?
Yes, I do.
You have insurance?
Yes, I do.
So you think you're a pretty responsible guy?
I would say so.
Then why would a reasonably nice-looking, seemingly normal, 22-year-old responsible guy who maintains a job, maintains a bank account, drives a car, has insurance, fool around with firecrackers and set them off in a house? Do you want to tell me why somebody would do that?
Yeah, just at a party, everyone's drinking.
So you were drunk?
I wasn't drunk. I'm saying everyone
Had
was
you
drinking.
had something to drink?
I had.
How much did you have to drink?
Few cocktails.
What was the date of this party?
I don't know exactly. I'd say 5 days before Christmas.
In somebody's apartment?
It was in somebody else's house.
But indoors?
Indoors. We were in the kitchen. About 6 of us were standing in the kitchen making drinks. There was about another 10 people out in the living room. And I saw some firecrackers on the counter. I was going to throw them in the sink.
You mean you were going to light them first?
Light them and throw them in the sink.
You weren't just going to throw them in the sink. You were going to light them and throw them in the sink.
Right.
How big were the firecrackers?
I don't know. Lady fingers, about 1.5 inches.
How many did you pick up?
I picked one.
So you picked up the firecracker.
Picked up the firecracker. Sink's in front of me. I'm standing in the doorway. This is the living room. I'm in the kitchen. I go to light it. The fuse takes off quicker than I anticipated. And in panic, I kind of flung it up in the air. It went out this way into the room above about 9 other people's heads. And after the bang...
And exploded.
And exploded in the air. And after the bang, when people found out what it was, everyone pretty much calmed down, except for Michael, and she was pretty angry.
Shaken up.
And bitter. Yeah, she was
and
shaken
angry.
up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you're not liable. That's for me to decide whether your stupid, irresponsible, childlike actions caused her discomfort.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Westervelt is suing fellow college student Brian Weaver for pain and suffering. Michael says Brian damaged her hearing when he set off a firecracker.
Okay, you're suing him for $5,000 because you say because of that you have bad hearing. Show me.
Well, Your Honor, when he threw the firecracker, it didn't explode in the air. It exploded parallel between my ear and my friend who was sitting next to me. So when the firecracker exploded, it was, I mean, a couple inches closer, it would have been hitting my face. I mean, it was right there.
He's an idiot. There's no question about that.
Yeah, so...
Show me what it says about your medical bills and show me what it says about your hearing test.
These are the 2 bills that I have. And then this is a hearing test. And it shows that my left ear is 100% and my right ear, the damage from the... I had pressure and ringing, and I've had headaches ever since the incident.
What were the firecrackers doing in this house?
I have no clue. What was the damage to her ear before that incident?
I don't know. I can only tell from what she tells me. She
mean-
tells me that she had headaches afterwards and that she had ringing in her ear. I don't know what her hearing was before that. It's part of the problem because she doesn't have expert testimony with regard to that. But you certainly are responsible for some part of the discomfort that she had, certainly for all of her bills.
But I don't feel that because there was 9 other people in the room and she's the only one that had a problem with it.
So?
So I don't know if there was ringing or headaches. I mean, how do I know she didn't have headaches before this?
She may have. She says she didn't.
I don't feel that I owe her money for her ears, personally.
Well, let me ask you this question, sir. What if the firecracker, instead of going off a couple of inches away from her face, hit her face and burned her face? Would you feel as if you were responsible?
Sure, because I would see that there was no burn mark before she came into the party. And
then I have to say, just because you can't see it doesn't mean you're not liable. That's for me to decide whether your stupid, irresponsible, childlike actions caused her discomfort. If I find that they did, you are responsible. Now, you may not be responsible to the full extent that she wants you to be responsible, but you certainly are responsible. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a full-time student.
What day of the week was this?
It was a Friday, and it was the end of finals for school, so everybody was celebrating.
Okay. Did you go home immediately afterwards?
Afterwards, my friend drove me to my sister's house, which was closer to the location and that we were partying at. And I immediately told her what kind of discomfort I was in. And my mother is an RN, and I saw her the next day, and I still had the ringing. And
how long did it last?
Headaches. The ringing lasted for 3 days, and I've had headaches ever since. And after he threw the firecracker, I turned around to see who did it. And he was pointing and laughing. It was humiliating. You know, everybody in the kitchen.
Shouldn't have been humiliating to you because he was acting like a fool.
I know he was acting like a fool, but just the pain, immediate pain, you know, and to have somebody laugh at you because of it.
Okay, but I wasn't laughing.
He's a fool. He can't help it.
All right, Your Honor.
Listen to me. It's genetic. It's genetic. He doesn't get it. Did he ever come over and apologize to you? What did you say when you got the flowers and the note from him the next day? Did you call him and thank him?
I wish I could have.
Yeah, because they never came.
No.
And the follow-up also never came. A week later, a couple of weeks later?
Nothing.
He can't help it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Can't help it. You know? Yeah. I mean, it's not a legal defense, you know, his genetic infirmity. But I want you to have some sort of sympathy for him because he's going to be like that forever. He's cooked. So I can't say, you know, when he grows up, he'll get better. When he grows up, he'll get smarter. When he grows up, his IQ will increase. This is what it is, madam. You have to have a certain amount of sympathy for him. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The firecracker's thrown in the middle of the air, and she's the only person that's going to have ear problems. I mean, you know, who's to say she didn't have ear problems before?
You throw a firecracker at somebody's face, there's going to be a problem afterwards, you know?
I don't even think it went by her. It was by 9 other people.
I just hope he can grow up.
I think it's absolutely bogus. I apologize.
Okay, I accept his apology, and I hope he learns from this.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ritchie versus Morales. Step forward, please.
Salesperson Tammy Ritchie is suing her sister, nurse's assistant Tristine Morales, for the unpaid balance on a car loan. Tristine says Tammy repoed the vehicle, so she's not paying.
Miss Ritchie, the defendant is your sister.
Yes.
According to what I read, your sister needed a car. She didn't have good enough credit, so you co-signed a car loan for her.
Yes.
When was that?
January of 2001.
What kind of car was purchased?
The 2001 Toyota Echo.
And what was the amount of the car loan?
Just over $13,000.
And I assume your arrangement with your sister was that she would make the car payments.
Yes.
And maintain the insurance on the car. According to your complaint, she didn't do that. You repossessed the car. You took the car back from her. And now you feel as if she should pay you at least $5,000, which is the maximum allowed in this court, because you're stuck with the car and the payments. Is that what this case is about?
Yes.
Okay. And your sister says she doesn't have the car, so she doesn't see why she should make the payments. What were the monthly payments on the car?
$296.
When did you repossess the car?
April of 2001. She had not made any payments on it, so I had to, I had talked to her first.
When was the first payment due?
I believe in February.
Did you make February's car payment of $296?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
I was behind in bills, and
you have no reason.
The first payment that I was supposed to make, I was behind, and it was late, and I had told my sister I apologized that it was late, and that I would take care of it as soon as possible on my next paycheck.
Did you finally pay that car payment?
No.
What about March? And
No.
I'll ask you for proof of all of these things. So in March, you didn't make
No,
car
I didn't
payment.
have the car in March at all.
You had the car in
She had
April.
taken the car away
No,
from me.
No, she took the car back in April.
No, she took the car away twice. The first time was in March.
Then she gave it back to you.
She gave it back to me after I had went, and I apologized, and I told her I was late on the payment and that I would get to it, and she...
Talk. Did you make March's payment?
No.
And then you took the car back in April.
Yes, not only-
Okay, now, you don't have to say anything else. Your sister's a deadbeat. I mean, what do you want?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tammy Ritchie says her sister, Christine Morellas, owes for a car loan. Christine says Tammy repoed the car prematurely.
What kind of track record did your sister have with you that would have said to you this was a smart thing to do?
Well, it's my sister, and I wanted to help her. She had the 2 kids. She has a job. She said she couldn't get to work, and she was having problems.
So she needed a brand new car?
I wanted to get her a reliable car, something that she'd have the kids in, something that she can go to work in.
How is she getting to work now?
She bought a car.
Really? When did you buy a car?
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Really? What did you use for money?
My income tax return.
What kind of car did you buy?
It's an 89 Honda Prelude.
That's what you should have bought before, not a brand new car.
But the agreement was that she was going to take care of this car and buy a car.
Let me see the papers on it, please.
You want all this?
Yeah, let me take a look at it.
There you go.
Well, what do you expect your sister to do with your debt, madam? What do you expect her to do with your debt?
You know, paying the car and making my payments wasn't a problem.
You
It
didn't
wasn't.
make the payments.
The first
You-
payment was late, and
You
I
didn't
and I
make
made the
the
agreement
payment.
that I would pay her, and that wasn't a problem. When we made the agreement the second time around, I was making my payments.
You didn't make February and March's payment.
I made 2 payments.
What do you expect her to do with this car now?
It wasn't a problem for me having the car. It
What?
wasn't. She took the car away from me the
No,
second
it was a
time.
problem, madam. If you didn't make 2 months worth
I was
of car
making my
payments and-
payments on the second time around. I was. She
Pay
took the car away
attention.
from me again.
Oh, you know, I mean, are you stupid or what? If you don't make a February car payment and you don't make March,
I made 2 payments in April.
show me.
She has all the receipts.
Show me. How much
She
did she give
has
you in
all the
April?
receipts.
And what happened was, for the first 2 months, payments were not made.
Of course.
Okay,
She
so she didn't
acknowledges
have an
that.
insurance, and I put her on my insurance until she got her own. After I put her on my insurance, the insurance company told me she had like 6 points on her driver's license, which skyrocketed my insurance. I took her off my insurance and said, till you get your insurance back, until you get your own insurance, I'm not going to do this. I can't do it anymore. And that's when she just gave up and didn't want to pay anymore. I tried everything in there.
What do you intend to do with this car?
Well, if things go well today, I intend to take both the cars into to a dealership, turn them both in, and apply this as a deposit. If everything goes well today, I
Well,
want to apply
if
it toward a
everything
deposit.
goes well, Miss Ritchie, is a problem. Because what you're asking me to do is to say you probably will get this amount of money for your car. And I can't do that. I don't know whether it's going to be $3,000 or $4,000. I have no idea. And neither do you.
I'm sorry, I do. I've looked into doing it. This is not something I've not done lightly. It's taken me a while to do this. The car payment right now, Blue Book's at $6,000, $7,000. The car's still owing about $11,000 on it.
Okay, let me go back and check the Blue Book. The old trusty Blue Book, $7,700 in fair condition. Good condition is $8,825. So let's say it's $8,000. Did your sister give you any money whatsoever towards the car?
$300 total.
Okay.
Your Honor, on the Blue Book value, that's maybe Blue Book, but you can't trade it in for that value.
Listen, I can do the following. I can make an award for you today of $440. If she gave you $300, she owed you $740. And then what you can do is you can go and sell the car, and then you can refile your lawsuit. What is your pleasure? I can't speculate.
I will sell the car.
Fine. Then today, without any prejudice, I'm awarding you $440. You can refile your lawsuit at such time as you sell the car.
Okay.
Perfect.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm glad it's over, and I just want to go home, and hopefully I don't have to deal with Tammy anymore.
It's not over. I'm going to sell the car, and then she'll be responsible for the difference. It's not over.
She's a control freak.
Of course I had to take control. She took no responsibility.
I'm always under her thumb some way or another.
They need to co-sign her. They can't afford the car.
Daughter Melissa Beck is suing her former landlord, elementary school teacher Kathy Izaghieri. Melissa claims Kathy poisoned her when she sprayed for termites.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 51 on the calendar in the matter of Beck versus Isagire. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Beck, are you still a tenant of the defendants?
No, Your Honor.
You moved out.
I still reside at that residence, but she has since sold the building, so she is no longer my landlord.
Okay. Your complaint is that while the defendant was your landlord, she caused you to become ill as a result of spraying pesticides in your apartment, and you want to be reimbursed for the nights that you had to stay out at a hotel and for thousands of dollars in pain and suffering. Now, when was this pesticide spraying incident?
April 1st of 2001.
And what were they spraying for?
Termites.
Had you seen termites?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you notified that they would be spraying?
Verbally, yes.
So what's the problem?
They had just treated my apartment 6 to 8 weeks before that, going through the exact same procedure, spraying the interior of my apartment, which is not the proper procedure, as I've got evidence to prove here. The proper procedure is actually to drill holes in the slabs of the flooring or in the walls so you can actually get to the wood or underneath, because they were subterranean termites. The termites lived in the ground.
All right.
That's where they lived, but they were spraying the interior of my apartment twice in a 2-month period.
All right, 6 to 8 weeks before the incident that caused you difficulty, they sprayed once. Is that right?
Yes.
They sprayed once. And you remained in the apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when were you notified that they were going to spray again?
A few days before they came and
So what
sprayed
happened?
on April 1st.
Fine. So what happened? You notified that they were going to come in again.
I was notified that they were going to come in again, and I told her verbally, under no circumstances do I wish for you to spray the interior of my apartment. If you're going to do it, please follow the proper procedures the way it was done a year ago. Drill the holes, get to the termites. I'm giving you access to my apartment so that you can get to the termites, not to spray the interior. There's no need. I'm still smelling the pesticides. I don't need to go through this again. I'm still getting migraines from the last time.
So what happened?
I went to work, came home, found out that she had hired the pesticide guy, and she was there, and he did spray the interior of my apartment, spilled it on my kitchen floor. It had been wiped up. I have cats. They had walked through it. I walked in, and it was overwhelming, and I hadn't even gathered any materials because I was under the impression that she was going to respect my wishes and not spray the interior again, since that doesn't even take care of the termites anyway.
All right. Now, since April 1st of '01, have you seen evidence of termites in your apartment?
They're back, yes.
They're back.
Yes.
When did they come back?
A month ago.
So it's been almost a year.
Yes, they come. This is their breeding season,
right
about now. They come back. Seems to be the same time every year to come out and swarm so that they can mate and become termites. I'm learning way too much about termites.
Okay. Now, according to your complaint, the smell was overwhelming and you had to leave your apartment. Where did you go?
The Best Western hotel room. It's approximately about 3 or 4 blocks from my home.
Okay, and how many nights did you stay there?
2.
You have the receipts?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please.
You stay over there.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I also needed to purchase HEPA filters to take the pesticide out of the air that I was breathing because I was getting so many migraines. It was suggested by my neurologist.
Why don't you move?
I couldn't afford to. My rent is rent controlled and only $570 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And for Los Angeles, a good area, that's extremely good for a 1-bedroom.
So that's pretty good rent, even though the place has termites once a year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so other than the $185.26 that you had to pay in a hotel room because of this smell of pesticides, what do you think that the defendant is responsible for?
I think that she was negligent in hiring an unlicensed pesticide person to come in and spray the interior of my apartment. He is unlicensed, as I have also in that pile is evidence to prove that. An agricultural commission did a report on it. He is an unlicensed contractor, and he had been also previously written up in 1994 for doing the exact same thing, spraying without a license and also spraying with restricted materials. I have no idea what I was exposed to. I I have no idea whether or not he followed. I know the procedures that he followed were incorrect.
How do you know he was unlicensed? Give me the tab on here.
Purple. I'm sorry, I color-coded it to make it a little easier for you to find.
Purple
and
what?
that would be purple A1.
What was the name of the person that you hired?
Frig. On the first page of that, it says...
Don't interrupt. I'm not speaking to you now.
Sorry.
Okay. How many years did you own this building?
I was never actually the owner. My mother was the owner. My parents owned the building for approximately 25 years.
Did you manage the building?
The only time I managed it, if you could call it that, was at the very end. My mother was very ill and she was unable to handle Miss Beck's harassment and complaints, and so I was handling the building at that time for her.
This exterminator that you hired is not licensed.
At the time, I believed that he was. I asked him if he was bonded and licensed. He said yes.
Did you ask to see his credentials?
I asked what his license number was, and he gave me a number. He had been in the business for 45 years and had worked for my mother for 10. And when Miss Beck needed...
So is what you're telling me that this person was the same person who sprayed previously for you? Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes.
Miss Beck, you said that the apartment had been sprayed previously. This Craig, he is the one who sprayed previously, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many times had he sprayed the apartment before?
I'm not really sure. He had been doing it...
For years?
For years.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I trusted her, Your Honor, that it was okay to be in that. I stayed there too.
I want you to be smarter. I don't want you to trust anybody. I want you to trust your own instincts, madam.
And later today...
Your Honor, we had a deal. We had a deal. I was to learn something. I paid
and you didn't learn
stuff.
anything. Whose fault is that? You went back to work. That is not a loan, Mr. Andre. That's not a loan.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Melissa Beck says former landlord Kathy Izaguirre poisoned her when she sprayed for termites.
Listen, Miss Beck, you don't make a big deal over things that aren't a big deal. Do you understand? You live in a rent-controlled building, which is a very old building. You live there because the rent is cheap, and that doesn't mean that you have to be subjected to things that are terrible. Your landlord can't do terrible things to you, but there are termites, and termites have to be eradicated. I don't think that the defendant did anything terrible to you. I certainly don't think it's worth thousands of dollars. I think that she has to compensate you for the 2 nights that you spent in a hotel because you were unable to use your apartment. I assume you paid your rent on time.
I have proof also showing what the proper procedures are
I don't
follow
care.
When you're...
Listen to me. I don't care what the proper procedures are, madam. I'm telling you that the termites that you complained of...
But you don't spray the baseboards of an apartment and let it just sit there for months. There's nowhere for it to go. It was painted over since the 1950s.
Listen to me. Life is full of choices. The choice that you made to leave the apartment for 2 days because you couldn't stand the smell was a good choice. She has to compensate you for that choice because she was... Quiet. Because she was responsible, even if she used someone who had a degree from Harvard, you might have had a reaction from the pesticides that were used. However, your apartment was rendered, through no fault of your own, uninhabitable for 2 nights. Now, if what you're saying, Miss Beck, is that it continues to be uninhabitable, or for months was uninhabitable, or for weeks, or for periods of time that you got headaches and migraines, etc., move! Nobody is holding you in this apartment. If you want to live in an inexpensive, rent-controlled building, which is old, there are some things that you have to tolerate. And I'm telling you, 2 nights lodging, she's responsible for. But thousands for your headache, she is not. Judgment for the placement. Listen to me.
I trusted her, Your Honor, that it was okay to be in that. I stayed there too.
I want you to be smarter. I don't want you to trust anybody. I want you to trust your own instincts, madam. $185. 2 nights at the Best
the
Western.
interest and the year that she
What
didn't
about
pay
it?
me?
What
I
about
demanded
it?
It's
Deal
been a
with
year.
it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $185. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We have a police report of an occasion when she attacked another tenant, overturned her furniture, and bit and scratched the other tenant.
I never bit anybody. I never scratched anybody.
There have been times when after midnight she's called my home screaming obscenities.
I did have problems with her with noise on one particular occasion, and she was outside.
I just hope that I never have to have another interaction with Melissa Beck again.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Grandin versus Baldwin. Step forward, please.
23-year-old student Tara Grandin is suing cleaning service owner Sherry Baldwin for breach of contract and negligence.
Miss Grandin, you hired the defendant's cleaning service to clean your home.
Yes.
And it is your claim that they were guilty of negligence, that they took some of your property, that is cleaning materials, and that they breached their contract, which is, I gather, the major part of your lawsuit, because you're suing them for $1,100. Is that right?
Yes.
Is this the first time you used their service?
Yes.
Okay, how did you find their service?
The Yellow Pages?
And I assume you have the ad from the Yellow Pages?
Yes, I do.
You want to show that to me, please, because that's part of your, I assume that that's your breach of contract. Is that right?
Yes. I also have their webpage with their agreements.
Okay, let me take a look at that. When did you hire them?
On Valentine's Day of this year,
And how large is your home?
I have a 2-story townhome,
What was the cost of cleaning it?
$50.
And how many people came?
2.
All right, so tell me what happened when they got there and what your problem is.
I explained to them what areas were designated as cleaning areas. They did not comply with that agreement by trespassing and using my private phone line to make a long-distance phone call without my permission.
And where did they call?
Compton.
And how much was that call?
It was only 7 cents.
7 cents?
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tara Grandin says cleaning service owner Sherry Baldwin owes for breach of contract and negligence. Tara says Sherry's workers damaged her belongings and used her telephone without permission.
What else?
They damaged my personal property.
Tell me about that, please.
This is my lighthouse candle holder. When they got there, I explained to them the items that were fragile and they needed to be careful with. I wanted this dusted. Well, after they left, I see that this is what dropped, and she had cleverly put it back together and just set it back as it was. And there's a bird right here. Well, there was also a bird right here, and that bird's gone. I can't find it anywhere.
And how much did you pay for that?
$50.
Do you have a bill?
Yes.
Can I see it, please?
There's also a fax receipt stapled to that because I did fax her the bill, and it says the transmission was okay, but she denied ever receiving my 2 faxes.
Can I see that, please, Bert? Thank you. While I'm looking at that thing, tell me what your other problems were with them.
They did bring their own cleaning supplies, but they used mine without my consent. And
What did
then
they use?
They used my bleach and they used my Tilex.
So why are you suing them for $1,100?
She never returned my phone calls. She denied my original refund, as all I asked for was $50 for the candle holder. I didn't ask her for the money back for the cleaning. She said she'd give it to me. It never came in the mail. I contacted her a month later. She would not return my phone calls. I called her 10 times. She tricked me. It was not good customer
things to worry
service.
about? Don't you have a
This
life?
is my home.
Don't you have a life?
Would you want these people doing this in your home?
I have had people taking care of things in my home, and sometimes things have gotten broken or things have gotten chipped, and I haven't been thoroughly satisfied, so I don't use the service again.
I won't use them again.
Fine.
Your Honor, and
I'm asking you if you have a life. I mean, your lawsuit is for $1,100. I just put this together with a little tiny spot of crazy glue. I cannot even see where this is damaged. We're not talking about a piece of vintage china.
The principal...
We're talking... Don't talk to me about principle, madam. I'm asking you if you have a life.
Yes,
life.
I do, and I don't want this to happen to anyone else. And she should have told me that she broke it. She didn't.
So she didn't tell you she broke it. She was afraid to tell you. She was afraid to tell you she broke it. She did not break a piece of museum-quality china. She broke a tchotchke that you got in the store someplace
I didn't get
for
it in the store.
$39.95. Listen to me, Bird. I'm asking you, and I want you to be honest with me. Because you know my eyes are not so good. How's that look to you?
It looks fine. I can't even see where you put the piece back.
Why would somebody not take a little bit of super glue, put it back if they love the candle holder, and say, maybe I can see a little bit of a line. Maybe when this lady gets older and she has lines of her own, the little line like this wouldn't make any difference to her.
That's character.
All right. Are you the lady who dropped this?
I didn't drop it.
Did the other lady drop it?
I'm not sure because I couldn't even communicate with her.
Why?
Because she was Spanish speaking only.
And it does state that they have English-speaking staff. I couldn't even give her directions as to what to do. She didn't know what I was saying.
Is that worth $1,100?
Your Honor, punitive damages should be awarded to punish the defendant for her wrongdoing, to show her that this shouldn't be done to anyone again.
You have to get a life. You have to get something important to worry about. You have to get something in your life that's important to consume your passion. This is nonsense.
It was a gift from someone who is now deceased, so it is important to me.
Listen to me. Fix it. If it's important to you, take a little bit of super glue that will cost you approximately less than the 7-cent phone call that you're kvetching about, and put a little super glue on it, and voila, it's fixed. You're going to get $50 for the cleaning service because satisfaction is guaranteed. And since you are really entitled to a 100% pure, perfect Lighthouse tchotchke, you're going to get $50 for that. That's a total of $100. And my advice to you, you are a young woman. Find something to do to occupy your time. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have a perfect record from the Better Business Bureau. I have not had a complaint in 3 years.
She does have a complaint at the Better Business Bureau, and that's me. And I will never use her service again.
My word is everything. We service all of Southern California. We have a very good business with a lot of happy people.
I'm going to clean my own house.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Davidson versus Millard. Step forward, please.
Retired scientist Maxine Davidson is suing her former friend, retired chemist Merle Millard, for credit card charges that were made on a trip to Mexico.
Miss Davidson, according to your complaint, you and the defendant were friends, and he invited you to go on a trip to Mexico in his camper, and he said you would have no expense, that he was going to pay for everything. And you claimed that while you were on this trip, you had to use your credit card for certain things.
Yes.
And you have not been fully reimbursed for all of the charges that were made during that trip, although Mr. Millard did give you some money towards your credit cards and towards the bills. You still have additional bills that you want him to pay for. And Mr. Millard says there was never an agreement that he would make all the payments for all the expenses, that he was supposed to just go together. Is that right, sir?
Correct. It was a 50-50.
That was your arrangement
It's
with
my
her?
understanding.
No, look at me, sir. That was your agreement with her. You would share the expenses 50-50. Is that what you're telling me?
We never discussed it.
You never discussed it?
To my knowledge.
Okay, fine. So it was your assumption.
Correct.
You never had a discussion about it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maxine Davidson says ex-friend Merle Millard owes for credit card charges he made while they were on vacation in Mexico.
All right, so Ms. Davidson, I'd like you to tell me how this trip came about.
I met Mr. Millard in September, around the 7th on my birthday, at a Kinko's. And we were both doing our life stories in film. And he was very courteous, and he wanted to meet me again, to talk about England. He knows where I'm from, in the north of England. And we never did get to talk about it, but we went out to dinner several times. He didn't have any credit cards because he said he had been bankrupt a year before. So no problem, he gets a very good salary from the government as a scientist. And he would pay me back. Then the next thing is he invites us in his refurbished vehicle, a Winnebago motorhome. And
what did he say to you?
He said, bring nothing but yourself. We don't need anything. He had plenty of food, plenty to drink. The vacation would be on him because my daughter was visiting with me, and my grandson then of 10 months He invited them also. She had never been to Ensenada.
Did they go?
Yes.
Your daughter
they
and
went.
grandson went.
Mm-hmm.
When did you leave on the trip?
Approximately the 21st of October.
Okay.
2000.
And how long was the trip planned?
We went for 2 days, but we stayed 6 because of the vehicle experiencing trouble with the motor. We were stranded there.
Okay, so tell me what happened when you were on this trip and what you spent money on.
Mr. Millard had no money, no credit cards. He had been bankrupt. He said, "Don't worry, I will pay you back every penny as soon as I get my money from the government." So, of course, what could I do? I used 3 correct credit cards, 2 of which were stolen or lost. I never did get them back. So when I got back to the USA, I ordered more. Fortunately, they were maxed to the limit, so there were charges on it, more than we made in Mexico.
What kind of expenses did you put on the credit card?
Okay, his finding the parts to put the motor back together was something to do with the overheating. The fan was the wrong size.
How much did you spend on the motorhome or the
close to
Winnebago?
$1,000 with food and motor costs. Oh, I don't know. He wouldn't tell me.
Answer my.
Never showed me.
Well, you must have gotten the credit card receipts.
I did eventually get them.
How much was spent for parts? Didn't it say on your credit
They
card?
weren't separated. He had the cards with him, got a lift, thumbed a lift to get there.
Let
to
me see
where
the bills
there
from
was
your
a
credit.
Versatel.
Miss Davidson, let me see the bills from your credit card company.
They're itemized and copied. And there are bills with his signature on the cards.
Just a minute.
That he spent. Mostly it was for food and entertainment that I used my credit cards as well, because we were there 6 days.
How much did you spend altogether? And I'm not including the money for the restaurants in California.
Approximately around $1,000. He gave me $483 back in the U.S.
$739.71 is what you calculate for international charges. You say U.S. charges $130.
Plus the money spent in America.
I'm not talking about the money spent in America. Understand that. I'm taking off the dinners that you say. He said, "Don't worry, I'll pay you back." I'm not dealing with that. That's
Promise
nonsense.
to pay me back.
That's nonsense. So he owes, according to you, he still owes you $359. Okay. Now, Mr. Millard, tell me about this vacation that you took with Miss Davidson. Why did you invite her on this trip?
Of companionship with her, and also her daughter and her daughter's son. I enjoyed their company.
And did you have any discussion with her, as Miss Davidson says, you know, just bring yourself and a smile and a bathing suit?
Yes, what I told her is I would equip the motorhome with food, and I gassed it up $130, and propane and all that. And we never discussed beyond that. I brought $250 cash along for entertainment and food, in addition if we didn't want to eat in the motorhome. So there was never really any discussion that I know of about I was going to pay for it all. I never intended to. I would never do that.
Well, I don't know whether you intended to or not, but let's get down to certain basics. This trip was originally intended to take 2 days. Is that right?
No, I mean, I would never drive it 100 miles and stay 2 days. It's 6 miles to the gallon for my motorhome.
How many days did you plan on being away, sir?
At least a week.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that, sir.
You don't believe it?
No. I don't believe that you planned on being away for a week.
Or more, sure.
No. I don't believe that you planned on being away for a week, sir.
Well, I didn't.
Never.
I would never
No.
drive. You know, that's the cost of the motorhome is gas. So
fine.
why drive it all over? You go
So
somewhere.
you paid for gas. Did you have enough food in your camper for a week?
Sure.
For a week?
Sure.
For 3 people?
Sure.
No.
Yes. Oh,
No.
of course.
No. And what happened to the camper? Because the camper broke down.
All right, now what happened is the fuel pump began to
It broke
fail.
down. I don't care what. It
Yes.
broke down. Don't explain it to me. I don't care about
failed.
gaskets
It
and
broke
fuel
down.
pumps. It broke down.
Yes.
And how many days was it broken down?
3 days.
Right. And after it was finally fixed, did you go back home?
Yes.
Immediately. As soon as
within
it
a
was
day,
fixed.
I think.
And all during that time, those 3 days, you didn't have to buy anything else. Is that right? You had all
Well, what
the
happened
food
is,
and all the drink for these extra.
No, what happened is
No.
we started going out you know, eating out and boozing it up. And
Well, if you went out eating and boozing it up, you weren't paying because you only had $250
yeah, I
in
ran
cash.
out of that.
And you ran out of that very fast, so you were using her credit cards.
Correct.
Did you use her credit card also to pay for the fuel pump?
All right, there was $60. I withdrew cash, I think around $100. The fuel pump was $40, and the repair bill, the mechanic, was $60.
I asked you whether you used her money for that, sir.
Yes.
Now, she's not part owner of your Winnebago.
No, of course not.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $359. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The intention of Mr. Millard to go to Ensenada was to go to strip joints and pick up a prostitute.
I went out and went to some bars down there. I don't deny that.
And he used my credit card to try to do so because he invited on board a pimp.
Well, you know, an adventure in life, let's put it that way.
He proposed to my daughter and wanted to marry her and take care of my grandson, who was 10 months at the time.
Yeah, I asked her daughter. Her daughter has a wonderful kid, and she's not able to take care of herself. And so I said, well, think about it.
And it's a vacation from hell.
Suing her former customer, Ashley Satimi, for slander and the cost of 2 miniature pigs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case 3029, Garlic versus Simiti.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Garlic, you have a business. I don't know if this is your main business, but you sell miniature pigs.
That is correct. This is one of my major businesses.
How long have you been doing that?
About 18 years.
You have photographs of what your pigs look like?
Sure.
May I take a look at them, please?
Do you want the ones that she got off of me?
No.
Oh, adult ones? I do have some adult ones. There's a couple photos for her.
Okay. I'm going to try to simplify this if I can. And these are babies, or are these?
Those are older ones. They're like a year old, 8 months to a year old.
How much do they weigh?
Typically, if you feed correctly, anywhere from about 12 pounds up to about 40 pounds. About the size of a medium-sized dog.
Okay. And do they live in the house?
These are house pets. So they're litter box trained. I try to train them before they ever leave. I spend a lot of time with that.
Okay. How much do you sell them for?
Typically, my prices range between about $2,000, depending on age and size, up to about $3,500.
And I assume that in this business, the smaller they are,
the more
they cost. Well, just
and
sort of
also
like
the younger they are, the more they cost.
Okay. You were buying these as pets for yourself?
Correct.
And you were going to buy 2?
Yes.
Where did you see the plaintiff advertising the piglets, or did you hear it by word of mouth?
Just Google.
Just tell me what would inspire you to get a pig instead of a dog.
Well, I have 3 dogs and 3 cats. But I went to the state fair and I saw them in the piglets in the birthing barn.
Okay, and you fell in love. Got it.
There we go.
Got it. So you bought 2 pigs. According to both of you, you gave a deposit for the pigs, correct?
Yes. She gave a deposit on each pig because the amount was more and she didn't have enough right then, so she's going to make payments.
Okay. And in total, she paid you how much?
She paid me $1,500 deposit on each piglet, and then she gave me 3 payments of $250 Zelle payments, which she was split the pay for $250 every 2 weeks.
Okay, so she paid you $3,750 altogether.
Yes, which she's reversed all that.
I understand.
Oh,
that.
okay.
And the total purchase price for the 2 pigs that she purchased?
Okay, each one was $2,700.
Okay.
And
well, let me go through something that each of you agree on. She purchased 2. You sent them to her.
Correct.
In transit, before she got them, one of them died.
Yes, due to complication in Spain. Okay.
One of them didn't die in your custody.
Correct.
Died in transit.
Correct.
Okay, so we don't know, but we know that certainly the
Correct.
piglet didn't die of old age. It died in transit, so she only received 1.
Right.
At that time. And what was the date of that?
She had it delivered on the 21st of September.
Okay. And when you contracted for these piglets, Miss Satimi, did you sign a contract?
I did not, no.
Did you get any paperwork at all from her?
I have text messages stating the amount owed.
No. Do you have a contract?
Didn't have a contract with her. I did send her multiple
Well, just a second. You didn't have a contract with her. So you got the pig, and there were no other terms that were agreed to by both of you in writing other than the price. And what was the total price?
$5,400 is what she owed total.
Yeah. And of that
she gave you $3,750. Okay. At some point, you took another piglet, Miss Satimi, to replace the one that had died in transit.
No, when Miss
Just a second. Well, you say you did, so you got to get your story straight. At some point, you accepted a second piglet from the plaintiff to replace the one who had died in transit.
It was get the pig or get no money back. So those are my two options.
Just a second. Well, that's true, Miss Satimi, because you don't have a contract with her, according to you, that you can show me. She doesn't either. So in a contract for an animal that I know I've purchased over the last 60 years from a breeder, it usually says that there is a health guarantee until you take the dog to a vet, or if the dog has a congenital illness and it's discovered by a vet, you get either a return of your money or pick of litter. There are all kinds of terms contained in a contract that I know I've always gotten, and so you understand them. If you bought these pigs for her and you bought them without any written conditions, then she has to.
I do have a written thing that was sent to her.
I don't care whether it was sent to her, whether or not she acknowledged it. You can't have a one-sided contract.
Agree.
You understand that.
I do.
You don't have a one-sided contract. So unless she agreed to that someplace, which she clearly did not, that's meaningless, what you're going to show me. And if you pay attention and don't shout out, maybe you'll find out that what I'm saying to her is to your benefit, and you're not supposed to interfere when the fact finder seems to be finding in your favor. So she was under no obligation to return your money.
No, she had.
So I'm just telling you, you accept. The answer is you accepted a second pig.
Yes, I did. Yep.
Was it in September?
It was. I didn't. Yes.
In September. On what date did you accept the second pig?
The second pig, I did not receive that until a month later, which was October 19th.
Fine. So these are a couple of questions I have specifically for you. The first pig that you got from her on September 21st is named what?
That is alive?
Yes.
That is Bacon.
And what did you name the second pig that you got on October 19th?
That was Hammy.
And according to your papers, you took Hammy and Bacon to the vet on the 28th of October.
26th, I brought them to the vet.
That's different from what you said here. I assume you have the paperwork from the vet.
Yep, I got the discharge summary.
Here you say in your answer that you took them on the 28th and you got an estimate for spaying them.
I went on the 26th, and at that point I found out that the pigs were not spayed as per...
As per what?
As per our conversation. I had conversations saying that the pig will be spayed. And on the 26th, I went to the vet, found out it was not spayed, and said, how much would it be to spay? I got a quote on the 28th, and that is...
Did you take the pigs back for the quote?
No.
So
they were spayed.
Just a second. I'm talking. Okay. You don't want me just to dismiss your whole case.
No.
Right? Which I'm thoroughly prepared to do. I have other things to do today. All I know is you brought in 2 healthy pigs shortly after being seen by the vet, who described the pigs as happy and healthy. One of them died. What does that have to do with her? They're in your care. What does that have to do with her?
Karen Garlick claims her former customer, Ashley Satimi, slandered her business and owes for the cost of 2 miniature pigs. Ashley is countersuing for vet bills.
On the 26th, you took the pigs to the vet.
Correct.
Were the pigs given ivermectin?
Yes.
Both of them?
Yes.
May I see, by the way, the vet papers from that date?
Absolutely. Would you like the quote as well, or just the...
I don't want the quote. I want the vet's notes. So you had both pigs from the 19th of October until you took the pigs to the vet on the 26th. So the 19th, 20th, 21st, 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes.
Yep is not an answer. Yes. And when you went to the
vet for the pigs, according to you, the pigs were, and according to the vet.
Yep. Yes.
The pigs were healthy, according to you, playful. I'm going to read what they said.
Wouldn't say
just
healthy.
Just a second. Well, that's what it says.
It says they have mites, mange,
No. What I'm
parasites.
telling you is
Underweight.
what they said. Bacon, who you still have.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah. And Hammy presented for examination. When Hammy arrived, she had a pendulous belly that the breeder attributed to a parasite, and she was dewormed with a product provided by the breeder, after which this appearance resolved. This is according to you. This is what you gave the vet. And Hammy began to gain weight.
Yes.
Both pigs are bright and active at home with excellent appetites. So far, that's what the vet is getting from you about the pigs.
Yep.
That they're both happy, healthy. She gave you stuff to deworm them. Hammy started to gain weight. And then the vet gave them this medicine. And 2 days later, Hammy died. This is from your history to the vet, that the pigs were fine. Yep. The vet gave both pigs this very strong medication, and I want you to describe what happened to the pig the day after you came back from the vet.
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
And can I just say that the ivermectin, that's the same stuff that Karen gave me.
Who knows how much the vet gave them? All I know is you brought in 2 healthy pigs.
Yep.
Shortly after being seen by the vet, who described the pigs as happy and healthy. One of them died. What does that have to do with her? They're in your care. What does that have to do with her?
Well, you're saying it was the medication. It's the same medication that was given
It
previously.
depends upon how much medication you give an animal.
This was a swine specialist.
Listen, I don't care, madam. I want you to understand that A, you have no health guarantee. But even if you had a health guarantee, what I'm reading from the vet is you reported that the pigs were fine, happy and healthy. She had given you a certain amount of this to get rid of the parasites, which you reported to the vet worked. And then the pig is seen by the vet, who gives the pig more of that toxic if taken in too high a dose, and died.
Well, that's not the reason it died.
I'm reading your papers.
Mm-hmm.
How many days after Hammy was given this dose by the vet did the pig die? How many days after? I'm reading you. I have your papers.
3.
Well, then maybe you did something 3 days later. Maybe you fed it something wrong. It's not her problem. It's your problem.
What about
By that time, she has sent you a piglet that you've had for 10 days. Now, how many pigs do you have that were purchased from her that you currently have home?
1.
Okay. And that would be bacon.
Correct.
What was the total price for bacon?
$750.
Well, that's not what bacon cost.
Bacon cost $2,500.
$27.
$2,500. If you can look at my text messages that I have here.
May I see the text message, please?
These are two of
Hold
them.
on.
She's got confirmations on that one and the second page as well.
Okay, cash price $4,900, Karen. Finance price is always more. I don't charge interest. Me. This is what I think is fair. I owe you $4,900 for the 2 pigs. I gave you $3,000. I owe you $1,900. PayPal took $90 because I did the PayPal protection. I will absolve. You mean absorb that and round the remaining out to $2,000. I pay you $250 each week.
Every other week.
And she says, okay. So now we have a contract. Perfect. Would that be okay? Yes. And then you say, do they have any vaccines yet? Yes, they will be vaccinated. So you agree on that. Do you have any warranty on the pigs? This is September 20th. I don't want to accept delivery of brown one if they are sick and going to die in a few weeks. Yes. 90-day replacement. Okay. 90-day replacement is what she says. Not your money back. 90-day replacement. That's your contract. Could you please now show me where she agrees to, I don't see it, and I don't want to look through this whole thing. Show me where the price includes spaying.
That would be on her website.
No, it's not on the website.
No.
I have a...
Just a second. Show me there, which is what I asked you for, there in the messages.
Better. How about a voicemail from her where she has stated that they're going to be...
Could you just do me a favor, madam? Yeah. Would you show me there?
I believe it is a verbal voicemail from her. I don't believe it is written. I believe it's verbal voicemail.
What do you mean you believe?
I don't think it's in this.
So it's not in that.
I will continue looking.
Yeah,
but I know
continue
that I
look. Continue looking.
I will.
It's not in there. No. Okay. Now you say you have a voicemail where she says that the $4,900 includes spaying. I'll hear it.
I absolutely do.
By the way, were they 2 females that were brought?
Females.
Okay.
Your Honor, I spay all the males, but I never spay females.
Listen to me.
Okay.
She says she has a voicemail that says that the $4,900 for the 2 pigs includes spaying.
I'd like to see
She says she has it. I want to see it.
I also have a loss. You know, I shouldn't have got this spayed before it went, but that was my understanding is you wanted it done.
Just explain to me. This says, if I'm hearing correctly, that one of the piglets was spayed.
Yes, I have documents from the vet.
May I see them, please?
That is not true.
Karen Garlick is accusing her former customer, Ashley Satimi, of refusing to pay for the piglets she purchased. Ashley claims she received sick piglets, and Karen owes for the vet bills.
Okay. But Press said, I don't know where. We'll give it to Sarah.
And
It should be 40 seconds.
So we're both at a loss with this because I haven't had this happen either. You know, I understand where you're upset you lost the one. So please get a hold of me so we can get something worked out because I understand your frustration, but you got to understand mine as well. I also have a loss. You know, I shouldn't have got it stayed before it went, but that was my understanding is you wanted it done prior to going, and that's the discussion I had gotten from you, and so I went and got that done. Plus, you couldn't take her until after the 17th, so we had to arrange the shipping, you know, after that point, so the other one's getting delivered also tonight. But, you know, this kind of puts me in a predicament.
Just explain to me. This says, if I'm hearing correctly, that one of the piglets was spayed.
they both were spayed. The one that died was spayed. That's why it died, in my professional opinion. I went through 4 years of veterinary technology school as well.
Okay, so the one that died, the one that didn't make it in transit, was spayed.
Yes, correct.
Just a second.
And the
What
other one.
And Bacon.
Evidence. Bacon and Hammy, whatever the first one she called.
Were both spayed.
Yes, I have documents from the vet.
May I see them, please?
That is not true. I actually spoke with her, and she said her son mixed it up.
Birth dates are on there from the vet, and the color and everything.
Just a second.
I actually called the vet as well.
You can't tell me what the vet said to you. What color are the pigs that you got?
They are chipmunk color, but there are multiple in their litter. She tried selling me two.
Just to answer my question.
They're chipmunk color.
What are they? They're chipmunk color.
Brown, yep.
One of them striped.
I'm not sure what you would consider
That's what
striped.
chipmunks is called, striped.
And red and white.
That was the one for sure.
They were both spayed on September 13th.
Correct.
Now tell me, you went to reverse all the charges that you had paid for her because you had paid her a certain amount of money, $3,750. Did you get all that money back?
No.
How much did you get back?
$3,000.
And then the Zelle account suspended that.
Just a second.
They took it from me, and they've got to suspend it because she claimed I was fraudulent.
Just a second. She now has two pigs. What happened to them in her care is, as you understand, is not.
I have one.
I don't care whether you have one now, madam. I just told you you had two pigs that were healthy according to the vet. After you had the replacement pig for over 10 days, it died after it had seen a vet that reported it healthy. You say it was 3 days. If it was the next day, I would say it was the shot the vet gave him that caused her to die. But you said it was 3 days later. I don't know what you fed it. I don't know what you did to it. I don't know who else took care of it. It's irrelevant. She's entitled to her money for two pigs. And if you had that reversed by the bank, you can't do that. You had a 90-day replacement for the pigs, and she replaced it, and she has received zero money.
$750.
That's zero money.
I don't have it. And I don't believe that it's on hold either.
It is.
Just a second. You don't have what?
The $750 I sent her, I did a dispute on it, and they said that because it was not fraudulent, She still has it.
For the $5,000 that these 2 pigs cost, you paid, according to you, $750.
That's correct.
Well, you owe her the rest. You owe her the money. I'm finding, now we're finished. Okay. Now we're finished with testimony, and I'm telling you that the death of one of the pigs, you have one, the death of the other one, happened in your care. Whatever it was, if you don't want to blame the vet, blame yourself, not her. You had a healthy pig when that pig went to the vet over a week after it arrived from her. So it's your fault, and you owe her the rest of the money. Did you get the $750 from her? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
No. You owe her $4,900 for the 2 pigs. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. It's dismissed.
This court is adjourned.
My slander.
It's
over.
dismissed.
Okay.
I tell you one other thing. If you post anything derogatory about her business again, she's going to see you back in court, either mine or somebody else's. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Some people think they get something for nothing anymore, and it's just the way it is. People try to cheat you.
You know, I got 3 pigs from her. 2 of them died.
You know, I get so attached because I'm very passionate about my animals. I'm very passionate about my business and my customers.
And 2 out of 3, that's not a good record.
So this is just really heart set to me because
2 pigs dying, there's something goofy going on there.
anytime a little animal dies like that, I take heart.
Moral of the case. If you're going to spend thousands of dollars on a pet, have a contract in writing as to what your expectations are so that you have a price, you have whatever guarantees there are, you have whatever exchange policies there are. Because what happened in there is I had to create a contract out of
nothing, out of
text mails,
voicemails,
out of text messages. I agreed to pay. Yes, well, that's a meeting of the minds as to a term. But that's an unprofessional way of the plaintiff to deal with a business that is a substantial business if she has 18 pigs. And it's really not a smart way for the defendant, to whom money is important, $5,000 has to be important to her, would go into a business arrangement without a formal writing.
Yeah, and just a secondary point that I was thinking of is we would want that contract to exist for anything, for a car, for a transfer of funds, but especially you want those details and those guarantees for a life. You're talking about a living animal.
Right.
And I think that requires, from both ends, a lot more words, a lot more sign pages, something more.
It requires a contract.
A contract.
It requires a contract. And she's in the breeding business. She's been doing it for 18 years. She should have a contract.
Listing whatever her terms may be. Maybe it's you don't get a refund, but I'll send you, replacement. That's perfectly fine. But all of those expectations should be
in a contract.
Amina Thornton is suing her former client, Donnie Alford, for dog registration papers, personal property, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 3032, Thornton versus Alford.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, this case has so many tentacles to it. Let's deal with the simple ones first. Miss Thornton,
yes, ma'am. You
have a music company.
Somewhat.
Tell me what exactly you do.
I'm a disabled veteran. With my husband, we have a trucking company, and I also breed dogs.
What do you have to do with music?
I had something to do with music.
Because that's how you connected with the defendant.
I initially connected with him. He was dancing. He does exotic dancing, and I went to a show.
So you were a spectator?
Yes.
And?
He led me on to that he did massages and he did different things, and he also made it known that he was trying to do music.
Was the show at a club or somebody's house?
It was a rented space.
And that's the first time you saw the defendant?
Correct.
Have you seen him again in that same kind of setting as an exotic dancer?
Once after the following year, in 2022, he invited me or asked me to come out and basically help him if he needed something, and he did need help that evening.
In between November of 2021 and what month in 2022?
That was March.
And March of 2022, had you built up a relationship with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And did there come a time between 21 and 22 that you had some sort of a music studio?
Yes.
Now, that's what I read in the papers. And what was the music studio for?
Artists to record.
Did you...
Okay.
Did you rent it?
No, it was in my establishment.
What establishment?
It was an apartment that I rented out. It had 2 bedrooms. One of the rooms was a music studio, and it was for the use
it was
of,
an apartment that you rented?
Yes.
Where?
In Buckhead, Georgia.
When had you rented the apartment?
I rented the apartment in February of 2022.
In whose name?
My name.
Personal?
Yes, ma'am.
Not in a company?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what you rented a 2-bedroom apartment for. You were married, you have kids.
Correct.
Were you living with your husband?
Yes, well, we was estranged. We was separated.
Okay, so you were separated. And in what month and year did you and your husband separate?
In, I guess, January.
January of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
It's like pulling teeth. And then you rented the 2-bedroom apartment. Did you ever live in the 2-bedroom apartment yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
So you lived in one of the bedrooms?
Yes, ma'am.
From when to when did you live in one of the bedrooms?
Up until June.
And then where did you go?
Back home.
You went back to your husband?
Yes.
Mr. Alford, did he live in that apartment?
He moved in February. He was homeless.
Just a second. So he moved in February. That's the answer.
Yes.
It's a 2-bedroom apartment. One of the rooms you said was a music studio.
Yes.
Was that one of the bedrooms?
Yes.
Did you and Mr. Alford stay in the same bedroom?
No.
That's a yes or a no. Let's just move on with it. Did you and Mr. Alford, when he moved in February, live in the same bedroom?
No.
Did he stay occasionally in the same bedroom?
Occasionally.
Yeah, all right. Did he pay any rent?
Never.
There was never an agreement for him to pay rent?
Yes, it was.
When? You're not suing for any rent?
That's because that's...
That's because that? Okay. Well, you're suing for a lot of other things, but you're not suing him for rent?
No.
Okay. And he stayed there until when?
He stayed there under my lease.
Shh. Okay, what did he stay there? You moved out of your home into this apartment in January of 2022. He moved into the apartment in February 2022. You moved out in June of 2022. I want to know when he moved out.
He moved out, I guess, in November when they gave him the eviction notice. But the lease was transferred into his name. He didn't have good enough credit.
Just a second.
So I transferred the lease into his name.
So you moved out in June and he stayed in the apartment?
Correct.
Okay. So far, is what she generally tells me through my questioning correct?
No.
With regard to the apartment?
No, ma'am.
Well, tell me your version, because this has nothing to do with the case, but has something to do with who I'm dealing with. Did you move into a 2-bedroom apartment, the lease of which was in the plaintiff's name?
No. She did help me, however, get the apartment. Her friend was a manager for the apartment complex, so it bypassed all, credit checks, all that. That got me directly.
Mr. Alford, I want you to pay careful attention to what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
In February of 2022, was Miss Thornton also staying in the apartment?
No.
March 2022, was she staying in the apartment?
No.
Did she ever stay in the apartment?
Never stayed in my apartment.
Until what month and year did you live in the apartment?
I lived in an apartment when she first helped me get it, which was in 2022, and I just moved out. I currently...
Just a second. Just moved out?
Yes.
On what date?
Probably, I think it was the end of this year. I'm currently still a leaseholder there. She just texted me and asked me if I wanted to get my stuff out of the apartment.
Who did?
The leasing office.
Are you still there? That's either a yes or a no. Are you still there?
No.
Do you still have any property there?
Yes.
So then you're still there?
Yes.
So then you're still there. If you have property there, you know you're still there. What happened at the eviction hearing? Is what you're saying the lease was in her name and she agreed to pay the rent?
It's in my name, but that's how I was paying the rent.
Can I show you the check?
Just to say, did you file tax returns in 2022?
No, ma'am.
I'm not asking you a question.
Amina Thornton claims her former client, Donnie Alford, assaulted her and refuses to return her dog's registration papers. Donnie is countersuing for the cost of French bulldogs and defamation.
Now, what happened at the eviction hearing?
They're aware of the situation.
Don't tell me what they're aware of. What happened?
Nothing happened. I'm letting them take ownership of the property. I'm giving it back to them.
When?
As soon as this case is over.
Why didn't you give it back to them when they evicted you? Have you been paying rent?
No.
Never.
She stated she pays the rent and I provide the artistry. Like, I do the art. I'm a performer. She pays the rent. That was our agreement. It's in my phone. I got it text message from her phone stating that during 2021 to 2022.
Is what you're saying the lease was in her name and she agreed to pay the rent? Well, then what do you want to show me?
It's in my name, but that's how I was paying the rent. She's giving.
She gave you the money.
Yeah, she's giving from working. I'm the artist.
Never.
Just.
Can I show you the check?
Just to say, did you file tax returns in 2022?
No, ma'am.
I'm not asking you a question. Did you file tax returns?
Yes.
Yes. How much did you earn in 2022?
I never got anything back. My kids.
How much did you earn?
My kids get.
A ballpark figure.
Ballpark, 80,000.
Doing what?
Male entertainment, and then also, you know, the singing and stuff.
And now I'm going to move on because I'm getting really bored with this. I'm going to get first to the dogs. While you were in some sort of a relationship, and I know that you had to be in some sort of a relationship because you say so, right?
Yes.
Some sort of a relationship. And I don't know whether he was the cause of you leaving and moving into this or not. It's not particularly relevant. But one of the things, according to both of you, that you decide to do as a side hustle is breed little Frenchy bulldogs. Is that correct?
Correct.
In what month and year did you decide to do this?
He wanted a dog as a pet.
Just a second. Would you give me the answer?
Yes, ma'am. June of 2022.
At about the time that you were going back to your family, to your husband?
Actually, it was April of 2022. I'm sorry.
Okay. And according to you, you purchased 3 French bulldogs.
Yes, that he agreed to care for, yes.
If you're going to answer my question with some more stuff, that's not going to be helpful to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you purchase them and how much were they?
They were all purchased from individual breeders. The first one was $4,500. The second one was $3,500, and the remaining one was $3,000.
Did you get them within a particular time period? A week, a month?
It got crowned, and then like 2 weeks later, got royalty.
And this was starting in April?
I gave the deposit in April. That's why I said it actually started in April. I picked up the dog in June.
And do you have the name of that person?
Yes, I do.
Do you know that person?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Alford, do you know this person? Look at me.
No.
You do not. Are you acknowledging that the first puppy that was bought with a deposit in April?
Yes.
And the deposit was how much?
$500.
And that was to hold the puppy from that litter?
Yes.
And when you picked up the puppy, the remainder of the $4,000 was paid?
Yes.
Let me see proof that it was paid by you.
To go on my phone for Crown because he's not suing for Crown, so I didn't bring Crown's paper.
Is it a fact that you are not requesting the return of this dog, Crown?
No, she paid for him.
Fine. So that's easy. Do you have the paperwork for Crown?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if you have the paperwork for Crown, that paperwork should be signed over to Miss Thornton, correct? Since you're not suing for the dog, you acknowledge that she paid for the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So can I see the paperwork for Crown?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have Crown registered. I don't need that paperwork.
Great. All right. Take that out. Now, the next dog you purchased was...
Royalty.
Royalty?
Yes, ma'am.
When?
In June 11th of 2022.
Right before you moved home?
I moved home right after having a miscarriage. He had sent me a derogatory text saying, thanks for paying the rent. And he had me distraught, and I got out of there. And that's when I wanted to turn the lease over to him and everything.
Getting it. Slowly. I want to know why you got the second dog at this period of time. You were still together.
Because he said, let's breed. That way I can
Okay, so you had Crown already. And how much was royalty?
Royalty was $3,500.
Who paid for that dog?
I did.
May I see the proof of that?
Yes, right here.
Do you acknowledge, Mr. Alford, that the plaintiff paid for the second dog? And if you do not acknowledge that, show me where you took the money from to pay for the second dog.
It's not a fact.
Okay.
I have letter from the breeder. I have a receipt.
No, I don't want to see letter from the breeder or
And
receipts.
I have the contract.
Listen to me. I don't want to see a letter from the breeder. I don't want to see a contract. I want to see where you took out the $3,500 from.
I don't have where I took it out. It was cash deal. It was cash.
I don't care if it was cash. You don't have that much cash. You'd have somebody else paying your rent, sir.
That's not true.
So, just a second. You have somebody else paying your rent. You do not take $3,500 out if you can't pay your own rent to buy a dog. If you did, you have a bank account.
Okay.
And you'll show me where you took $3,500 out.
I no longer have that bank account.
Well, and I no longer believe you. Okay, good. So,
Can I show you my bank account?
Shh. All this shows me, by the way, is a $500 deposit on June 11th.
And I have my
I'd like
bank
to
account,
see.
because they only accept cash.
Just a second. Let me see where you took the money from.
Yes, ma'am.
You picked the dog up also in June.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'd like to see it. She's going to give you where she took the money from in June, and that would be $3,000 when she picked up the dog, or when she gave the money to the defendant to pick up the dog.
Thank you. Your Honor, where's 7,000 circled? Because I was supposed to get two. I was supposed to get her and her sister. They were both 3,500. But he said that the same dogs had the same bloodline and that wouldn't be.
Did you get two from the same?
No, I got one. And you can see where I gave him on the 15th $1,000.
Okay. Now, he says he has a contract. I don't want to see a letter. All I want to see is a contract that you said you had.
With the receipt? Can I send up the receipt as well?
You can submit a receipt, but a receipt says nothing. A receipt says you picked up the dog. Take your legs and go over to the bank and say, can I have my withdrawals, please? They will pull it up and say, $2,500 in August. This is what you paid. You understand that, sir? You're a smart man. Not necessarily an honest man, but a smart man.
Amina Thornton has accused her former client, Donnie Alford, of assaulting her and keeping her dog's registration papers. Donnie claims Amina owes him the value of the French bulldogs.
I'd like to see what he has. He says he has a contract. I don't want to see a letter. All I want to see is a contract that you said you had.
With the receipt? Can I send up the receipt as well?
You can submit a receipt, but a receipt says nothing. A receipt says you picked up the dog.
Okay.
She has a contract for the sale of the dog. Canine contract. Now, she has seller's initials and buyer's initials.
And I also have a letter from the person at Breed stating that I was
Just a second. Okay. I don't read letters from your friend. And that's who you said it was, correct?
No.
Just a second. That's who you said it was. Would you read that back to me? It's from a friend of mine. Is that what you said, sir?
There's two people that's listed on the dog agreement.
Never mind.
The woman is not my friend.
He said one of my dance friends.
One of your dance friends. Yeah, thank you. I knew which friend, but one of the dance friends. Okay, this dog's finished. This is royalty. What do you want to show me about royalty?
This is an email asking the breeder if she would give me the papers, being that he stole them.
No, I don't care about that. Okay. That's not only hearsay, it's not particularly relevant. What's the third dog's name?
Prince.
Who did you buy Prince from and when?
I brought him from Mr. in my town, in my county, on August 16th, I believe.
You had already moved back home.
Yes, ma'am.
To your family.
Yes, ma'am.
And he was, at that time, living in this two-bedroom apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
May I see proof that you paid for Prince?
Yes, ma'am.
While she's looking for that, Mr. Alford, do you have any proof that you paid for Prince?
No, I do not.
Okay. Did Miss Thornton pay for Prince?
She paid partial of the money.
Did you pay any of the money?
Yes.
How much did you pay?
I think I sent over $2,500 for him.
Show me.
I can't. I only have the registration papers.
Well, I don't care about the registration
she
papers.
Knows I doesn't have my old phone to pull up the receipts.
Listen,
all I have is what I have.
That doesn't help me, Mr. Alford, at all. The fact I got what I got, this is what I got. I don't have that. We're not talking about 10 years ago. We're talking about bank records where you can pull up bank records. You don't need a phone. All you need to do is take your legs and go over to the bank and say, can I have my withdrawals, please, for August of 2022? We're not even in August of 2023. They will pull it up and say $2,500 in August. This is what you paid. You understand that, sir? You're a smart man.
Your Honor.
Not necessarily an honest man, but a smart man. May I see the proof, please?
This is.
Shh. just show them.
And that's the $2,500.
Okay. Okay. Now, what you are suing for are the papers for those two dogs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have any other proof that you want to show me with regard to the ownership of these two dogs that's not hearsay, Mr. Alford? Plaintiff has the physical custody of the two dogs. Is that right? All three.
September of 2022. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have physical custody. You have any other proof that you contributed to the payment of the dogs?
No.
Okay, good. So this court will...
Unless you want the letter. And
forget
you could verify the
Forget
letter.
it.
It's not, she's not my friend.
I don't care whether you paid the money, sir, whether you turned over the money. The question is, was it your money?
Yes.
Well, you have no proof
was my
that
money.
You have no proof that it was your money. In any event, go ahead.
She doesn't even care about the dogs. I have proof that she said as soon as the dog has its last litter, I'm going to throw it in the trash and you could get her back. She doesn't care about the dogs.
Well, it's too bad then that you went into business with her, but she has physical custody of the dogs. There's nothing that I'm going to do about that, sir. You haven't had the dogs in your possession for almost a year.
I can't get them from her.
Well, that's...
Your Honor,
just a second. Just a second. I'm issuing an order to the AKC that this court makes the determination that the plaintiff is the owner of these three dogs, the two of which are in dispute right now, and that new registration papers should be reissued in her name.
And Your Honor.
Don't speak.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm finishing up with this because I'm almost done with it. Okay, I don't want to much hear about personal property. You now have the dogs in their possession. Did one of the dogs have a litter?
Yes, she did.
Okay. How many puppies?
5.
When were they born?
April 6th.
Any of them sold yet?
No.
Who's taking care of them?
Me.
Well, you're here. Who's taking care of them now?
My husband. I'm sorry.
All three dogs are still with you?
I have 5 dogs. Yes, ma'am.
You have 5 altogether. What kind?
All French Bulldogs.
Okay. Now, let's deal with this assault. You want to tell me what the assault was about?
He was angry because I would not pay the rent anymore. Once the dogs became in my custody, which was September of 2022, I stopped paying rent. I stopped paying everything. And he began to request loans at that point.
You mean in person or on the phone or how?
Loans?
No. Were these demands made in person or over the phone? You moved out. You're now home with your husband and children.
I still would be in contact with him because of the music. So, yes.
Well, what did you have to do with the music?
I basically financed everything. I paid for everything. He had no money. He had this dream. He was homeless at the time. And I...
Okay, so you had an argument after you refused to pay the rent.
I have pictures of his stuff in trash bags.
Just a second. You had a disagreement about the rent.
Yeah.
In September of 2022.
It was more than the rent, ma'am.
Whatever you had a disagreement about, you say he assaulted you. Tell me where you were when this took place.
Actual assault took place in December. I was staying
December of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where did it take place?
Assault on her or nothing.
What?
I never been charged with assault on her or nothing.
Where did it take place?
The assault took place in the apartment.
So you were there in the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me the circumstances.
बहुत से लोग परेशान, बहुत से दोस्त परेशान। आखिर 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला कब हल होगा और कैसे हल होगा? इतने परेशान हो चुके हैं कि वीडियोस अपलोड कर करके थक चुके हैं, लेकिन उनके जो 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला हल नहीं हो रहा। किसी वीडियो पे 2 व्यूज़, किसी वीडियो पे 1 व्यूज़, किसी पे 15, किसी पे 20, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 50 व्यूज़ आ जाते हैं, लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा व्यूज़ नहीं आते। इस तरह से लोग बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो चुके हैं कि आखिर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है और हमारी वीडियो वायरल में क्यों नहीं जा रही और हमारा जो चैनल है ग्रो क्यों नहीं कर रहा, जबकि एसईओ वगैरह सब कुछ हम कंप्लीट करते हैं। तो दोस्तों, जैसा कि मैंने पिछली वीडियो में भी बताया था कि इसमें मेन चीज़ होता है एसईओ, उसके अलावा होता है CTR वगैरह। उसके अलावा होता है कि चैनल किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो में जान है या नहीं है। सबसे मेन चीज़ आपकी कंटेंट है। अगर आपका कंटेंट अच्छा है, एक बार आपकी वीडियो लोगों तक पहुंच गई तो अगर YouTube आपकी वीडियो एक बंदे तक पहुंचा रहा है, अगर वो देखेगा तो मज़ीद 10 तक पहुंच जाएंगे। इस तरह से करते कराते बहुत लोगों तक आपकी वीडियोस जो हैं वो पहुंच जाएंगी। लेकिन आज की वीडियो में आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन देने वाला हूं जिसकी वजह से आपकी जो वीडियो का मसला है वो हल हो जाएगा। तो आपने कोशिश करनी है कि आपने कुछ दोस्त इकट्ठे कर लेने हैं, जैसा कि इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कहीं से भी आपने दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपके चैनल को एक बार सर्च करें और 1 या 2 वीडियो आपकी वॉच करें। जब एक बंदा आपकी वीडियो को ओपन करेगा या आपका चैनल सर्च करेगा तो आपका जो यूट्यूब का चैनल होगा वो मज़ीद ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर देगा और लोगों तक पहुंचेगा। अगर आपके चैनल पे 20 लोग सर्च करते हैं, आपके चैनल के नेम से 20 लोग अगर आपके सर्च करते हैं तो आपका जो चैनल है वो बिल्कुल स्पीड के साथ ग्रो करेगा, यानी ऐसे जाते हुए एकदम से ऊपर चला जाएगा। आपने कोशिश करनी है कि कुछ लोगों को कहना है, कुछ दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपका जो चैनल है वो सर्च करे यूट्यूब से, ताकि आपकी जो चैनल का रैंक बढ़े, उससे वीडियोस के व्यूज़ वगैरह अच्छे हो जाएंगे। तो कोशिश आपने यही करनी है कि आपके चैनल पे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आएँ। जैसे ही सर्च करते जाएंगे, अगर आपके चैनल से 20 या 40 या 50 लोग सर्च एक बार कर लेंगे तो आप समझें कि आपका चैनल वायरल हो चुका है। तो ये थी छोटी सी इन्फॉर्मेशन। अगर पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक एंड चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा। ये हमें अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव्स वगैरह क्यों नहीं दे रहा, अनलिमिटेड बूस्टर्स क्यों नहीं दे रहा, आखिर मिस्टेक कहाँ से होती है, हमने कहाँ से डाउनलोड करना है और किस तरह से इसको इंस्टॉल करना है। आइए आज की वीडियो में हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे जो मेन बात यह है कि आपने इसको प्ले स्टोर से नहीं उठाना, क्योंकि ये प्ले स्टोर में जो अवेलेबल है वो आपको फ्री में नहीं मिलेगा। तो इसको आपने डाउनलोड करना है गूगल क्रोम से। वहाँ से आपने सर्च करना है, लिखना है कि कैंडी क्रश सागा APK मोड। लेकिन आपको वहाँ से भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे जो कि आपके पास वर्क नहीं करेंगे और इंस्टॉल नहीं होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए बहुत ही आसान तरीका आप लोगों के लिए मैं लेके हाजिर हुआ हूँ। वो क्या है दोस्तों, आपने जस्ट मेरे लिंक पे क्लिक करना है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड करके अपने मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल कर लेना है और आपने एंजॉय करने हैं अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव, अनलिमिटेड उसके बूस्टर्स वगैरह, अनलिमिटेड आपको ऑल के ऑल मिल जाएंगे। तो जिस तरह आप चाहें बिल्कुल आसानी के साथ उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, कैंडी क्रश सागा को एंजॉय कर सकते हैं। कोई भी इसमें मुश्किल पेश नहीं आएगी। तो आई होप आपको आज की इन्फॉर्मेशन पसंद आई होगी। वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर कीजिए, हमारे चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि हम मज़ीद आपके लिए हेल्पफुल वीडियोस लेते आएंगे। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। बहुत से लोग परेशान, बहुत से दोस्त परेशान, आखिर 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला कब हल होगा और कैसे हल होगा। इतने परेशान हो चुके हैं कि वीडियोस अपलोड कर करके थक चुके हैं, लेकिन उनके जो 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला हल नहीं हो रहा। किसी वीडियो पे 2 व्यूज़, किसी वीडियो पे 1 व्यूज़, किसी पे 15, किसी पे 20, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 50 व्यूज़ आ जाते हैं, लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा व्यूज़ नहीं आते। इस तरह से लोग बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो चुके हैं कि आखिर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है और हमारी वीडियो वायरल में क्यों नहीं जा रही। और हमारा जो चैनल है ग्रो क्यों नहीं कर रहा, जबकि एसईओ वगैरह सब कुछ हम कंप्लीट करते हैं। तो दोस्तों जैसा कि मैंने पिछली वीडियो में भी बताया था कि इसमें मेन चीज़ होता है एसईओ, उसके अलावा होता है सीटीआर वगैरह, उसके अलावा होता है कि चैनल किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो में जान है या नहीं है। सबसे मेन चीज़ आपकी कंटेंट है। अगर आपका कंटेंट अच्छा है, एक बार आपकी वीडियो लोगों तक पहुंच गई, तो अगर YouTube आपकी वीडियो एक बंदे तक पहुंचा रहा है, अगर वो देखेगा तो मज़ीद 10 तक पहुंच जाएंगे। इस तरह से करते कराते बहुत लोगों तक आपकी वीडियोस जो हैं वो पहुंच जाएंगी। लेकिन आज की वीडियो में आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन देने वाला हूं जिसकी वजह से आपकी जो वीडियो का मसला है वो हल हो जाएगा। तो आपने कोशिश करनी है कि आपने कुछ दोस्त इकट्ठे कर लेने हैं, जैसा कि इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कहीं से भी आपने दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपके चैनल को एक बार सर्च करें और 1 या 2 वीडियो आपकी वॉच करें। जब एक बंदा आपकी वीडियो को ओपन करेगा या आपका चैनल सर्च करेगा तो आपका जो यूट्यूब का चैनल होगा वो मज़ीद ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर देगा और लोगों तक पहुंचेगा। अगर आपके चैनल पे 20 लोग सर्च करते हैं, आपके चैनल के नेम से 20 लोग अगर आपके सर्च करते हैं, तो आपका जो चैनल है वो बिल्कुल स्पीड के साथ ग्रो करेगा, यानी ऐसे जाते हुए एकदम से ऊपर चला जाएगा। आपने कोशिश करनी है कि कुछ लोगों को कहना है, कुछ दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपका जो चैनल है वो सर्च करे यूट्यूब से, ताकि आपकी जो चैनल का रैंक बढ़े, उससे वीडियोस के व्यूज़ वगैरह अच्छे हो जाएंगे। तो कोशिश आपने यही करनी है कि आपके चैनल पे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आएँ। जैसे ही सर्च करते जाएंगे, अगर आपके चैनल से 20 या 40 या 50 लोग सर्च एक बार कर लेंगे तो आप समझें कि आपका चैनल वायरल हो चुका है। तो ये थी छोटी सी इन्फॉर्मेशन। अगर पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक एंड चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, ये हमें अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव्स वगैरह क्यों नहीं दे रहा, अनलिमिटेड बूस्टर्स क्यों नहीं दे रहा, आखिर मिस्टेक कहाँ से होती है, हमने कहाँ से डाउनलोड करना है और किस तरह से इसको इंस्टॉल करना है, आइए आज की वीडियो में हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे जो मेन बात यह है कि आपने इसको प्ले स्टोर से नहीं उठाना, क्योंकि ये प्ले स्टोर में जो अवेलेबल है वो आपको फ्री में नहीं मिलेगा। तो इसको आपने डाउनलोड करना है गूगल क्रोम से, वहाँ से आपने सर्च करना है, लिखना है कि कैंडी क्रश सागा APK मोड। लेकिन आपको वहाँ से भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे जो कि आपके पास वर्क नहीं करेंगे और इंस्टॉल नहीं होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए बहुत ही आसान तरीका आप लोगों के लिए मैं लेके हाजिर हुआ हूँ। वो क्या है दोस्तों, आपने जस्ट मेरे लिंक पे क्लिक करना है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड करके अपने मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल कर लेना है और आपने इंजॉय करने हैं अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव, अनलिमिटेड उसके बूस्टर्स वगैरह, अनलिमिटेड आपको ऑल के ऑल मिल जाएंगे। तो जिस तरह आप चाहें बिल्कुल आसानी के साथ उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, कैंडी क्रश सागा को एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, कोई भी इसमें मुश्किल पेश नहीं आएगी। तो आई होप आपको आज की इन्फॉर्मेशन पसंद आई होगी। वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर कीजिए, हमारे चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि हम मज़ीद आपके लिए हेल्पफुल वीडियोज़ लेते आएंगे। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। बहुत से लोग परेशान, बहुत से दोस्त परेशान, आखिर 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला कब हल होगा और कैसे हल होगा। इतने परेशान हो चुके हैं कि वीडियोस अपलोड कर करके थक चुके हैं, लेकिन उनके जो 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला हल नहीं हो रहा। किसी वीडियो पे 2 व्यूज़, किसी वीडियो पे 1 व्यूज़, किसी पे 15, किसी पे 20, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 50 व्यूज़ आ जाते हैं, लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा व्यूज़ नहीं आते। इस तरह से लोग बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो चुके हैं कि आखिर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है और हमारी वीडियो वायरल में क्यों नहीं जा रही और हमारा जो चैनल है ग्रो क्यों नहीं कर रहा, जबकि एसईओ वगैरह सब कुछ हम कंप्लीट करते हैं। तो दोस्तों, जैसा कि मैंने पिछली वीडियो में भी बताया था कि इसमें मेन चीज़ होता है एसईओ, उसके अलावा होता है सीटीआर वगैरह, उसके अलावा होता है कि चैनल किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो में जान है या नहीं है। सबसे मेन चीज़ आपकी कंटेंट है। अगर आपका कंटेंट अच्छा है, एक बार आपकी वीडियो लोगों तक पहुंच गई, तो अगर YouTube आपकी वीडियो एक बंदे तक पहुंचा रहा है, अगर वो देखेगा तो मज़ीद 10 तक पहुंच जाएंगे। इस तरह से करते कराते बहुत लोगों तक आपकी वीडियोस जो हैं वो पहुंच जाएंगी। लेकिन आज की वीडियो में आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन देने वाला हूं जिसकी वजह से आपकी जो वीडियो का मसला है वो हल हो जाएगा। तो आपने कोशिश करनी है कि आपने कुछ दोस्त इकट्ठे कर लेने हैं, जैसा कि इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कहीं से भी आपने दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपके चैनल को एक बार सर्च करें और एक या दो वीडियो आपकी वॉच करें। जब एक बंदा आपकी वीडियो को ओपन करेगा या आपका चैनल सर्च करेगा तो आपका जो यूट्यूब का चैनल होगा वो मज़ीद ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर देगा और लोगों तक पहुंचेगा। अगर आपके चैनल पे 20 लोग सर्च करते हैं, आपके चैनल के नेम से 20 लोग अगर आपके सर्च करते हैं, तो आपका जो चैनल है वो बिल्कुल स्पीड के साथ ग्रो करेगा, यानी ऐसे जाते हुए एकदम से ऊपर चला जाएगा। आपने कोशिश करनी है कि कुछ लोगों को कहना है, कुछ दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपका जो चैनल है वो सर्च करे यूट्यूब से, ताकि आपकी जो चैनल का रैंक बढ़े, उससे वीडियोस के व्यूज़ वगैरह अच्छे हो जाएंगे। तो कोशिश आपने यही करनी है कि आपके चैनल पे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आएँ। जैसे ही सर्च करते जाएंगे, अगर आपके चैनल से 20 या 40 या 50 लोग सर्च एक बार कर लेंगे तो आप समझें कि आपका चैनल वायरल हो चुका है। तो ये थी छोटी सी इन्फॉर्मेशन। अगर पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक एंड चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, ये हमें अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव्स वगैरह क्यों नहीं दे रहा, अनलिमिटेड बूस्टर्स क्यों नहीं दे रहा, आखिर मिस्टेक कहाँ से होती है, हमने कहाँ से डाउनलोड करना है और किस तरह से इसको इंस्टॉल करना है। आइए आज की वीडियो में हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे जो मेन बात यह है कि आपने इसको प्ले स्टोर से नहीं उठाना, क्योंकि ये प्ले स्टोर में जो अवेलेबल है वो आपको फ्री में नहीं मिलेगा। तो इसको आपने डाउनलोड करना है गूगल क्रोम से। वहाँ से आपने सर्च करना है, लिखना है कि कैंडी क्रश सागा एपीके मोड। लेकिन आपको वहाँ से भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे जो कि आपके पास वर्क नहीं करेंगे और इंस्टॉल नहीं होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए बहुत ही आसान तरीका आप लोगों के लिए मैं लेके हाजिर हुआ हूँ। वो क्या है दोस्तों, आपने जस्ट मेरे लिंक पे क्लिक करना है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड करके अपने मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल कर लेना है और आपने इंजॉय करने हैं अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव, अनलिमिटेड उसके बूस्टर्स वगैरह, अनलिमिटेड आपको ऑल के ऑल मिल जाएंगे। तो जिस तरह आप चाहें बिल्कुल आसानी के साथ उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, कैंडी क्रश सागा को एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, कोई भी इसमें मुश्किल पेश नहीं आएगी। तो आई होप आपको आज की इन्फॉर्मेशन पसंद आई होगी। वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर कीजिए, हमारे चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि हम मज़ीद आपके लिए हेल्पफुल वीडियोज़ लेते आएंगे। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। बहुत से लोग परेशान, बहुत से दोस्त परेशान, आखिर 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला कब हल होगा और कैसे हल होगा। इतने परेशान हो चुके हैं कि वीडियोस अपलोड कर करके थक चुके हैं, लेकिन उनके जो 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला हल नहीं हो रहा। किसी वीडियो पे 2 व्यूज़, किसी वीडियो पे 1 व्यूज़, किसी पे 15, किसी पे 20, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 50 व्यूज़ आ जाते हैं, लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा व्यूज़ नहीं आते। इस तरह से लोग बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो चुके हैं कि आखिर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है और हमारी वीडियो वायरल में क्यों नहीं जा रही और हमारा जो चैनल है ग्रो क्यों नहीं कर रहा, जबकि एसईओ वगैरह सब कुछ हम कंप्लीट करते हैं। तो दोस्तों, जैसा कि मैंने पिछली वीडियो में भी बताया था कि इसमें मेन चीज़ होता है एसईओ, उसके अलावा होता है CTR वगैरह, उसके अलावा होता है कि चैनल किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो में जान है या नहीं है। सबसे मेन चीज़ आपके कंटेंट है। अगर आपका कंटेंट अच्छा है, एक बार आपकी वीडियो लोगों तक पहुंच गई, तो अगर YouTube आपकी वीडियो एक बंदे तक पहुंचा रहा है, अगर वो देखेगा तो मज़ीद 10 तक पहुंच जाएंगे। इस तरह से करते कराते बहुत लोगों तक आपकी वीडियोस जो हैं वो पहुंच जाएंगी। लेकिन आज की वीडियो में आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन देने वाला हूं जिसकी वजह से आपकी जो वीडियो का मसला है वो हल हो जाएगा। तो आपने कोशिश करनी है कि आपने कुछ दोस्त इकट्ठे कर लेने हैं, जैसा कि इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कहीं से भी आपने दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपके चैनल को एक बार सर्च करें और 1 या 2 वीडियो आपकी वॉच करें। जब एक बंदा आपकी वीडियो को ओपन करेगा या आपका चैनल सर्च करेगा तो आपका जो यूट्यूब का चैनल होगा वो मज़ीद ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर देगा और लोगों तक पहुंचेगा। अगर आपके चैनल पे 20 लोग सर्च करते हैं, आपके चैनल के नेम से 20 लोग अगर आपके सर्च करते हैं, तो आपका जो चैनल है वो बिल्कुल स्पीड के साथ ग्रो करेगा, यानी ऐसे जाते हुए एकदम से ऊपर चला जाएगा। आपने कोशिश करनी है कि कुछ लोगों को कहना है, कुछ दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपका जो चैनल है वो सर्च करे यूट्यूब से, ताकि आपकी जो चैनल का रैंक बढ़े, उससे वीडियोस के व्यूज़ वगैरह अच्छे हो जाएंगे। तो कोशिश आपने यही करनी है कि आपके चैनल पे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आएँ। जैसे ही सर्च करते जाएंगे, अगर आपके चैनल से 20 या 40 या 50 लोग सर्च एक बार कर लेंगे तो आप समझें कि आपका चैनल वायरल हो चुका है। तो ये थी छोटी सी इन्फॉर्मेशन। अगर पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक एंड चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, ये हमें अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव्स वगैरह क्यों नहीं दे रहा, अनलिमिटेड बूस्टर्स क्यों नहीं दे रहा, आखिर मिस्टेक कहाँ से होती है, हमने कहाँ से डाउनलोड करना है और किस तरह से इसको इंस्टॉल करना है। आइए आज की वीडियो में हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे जो मेन बात यह है कि आपने इसको प्ले स्टोर से नहीं उठाना, क्योंकि ये प्ले स्टोर में जो अवेलेबल है वो आपको फ्री में नहीं मिलेगा। तो इसको आपने डाउनलोड करना है गूगल क्रोम से। वहाँ से आपने सर्च करना है, लिखना है कि कैंडी क्रश सागा APK मोड। लेकिन आपको वहाँ से भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे जो कि आपके पास वर्क नहीं करेंगे और इंस्टॉल नहीं होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए बहुत ही आसान तरीका आप लोगों के लिए मैं लेके हाजिर हुआ हूँ। वो क्या है दोस्तों, आपने जस्ट मेरे लिंक पे क्लिक करना है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड करके अपने मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल कर लेना है और आपने इंजॉय करने हैं अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव, अनलिमिटेड उसके बूस्टर्स वगैरह, अनलिमिटेड आपको ऑल के ऑल मिल जाएंगे। तो जिस तरह आप चाहें बिल्कुल आसानी के साथ उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, कैंडी क्रश सागा को एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, कोई भी इसमें मुश्किल पेश नहीं आएगी। तो आई होप आपको आज की इन्फॉर्मेशन पसंद आई होगी। वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर कीजिए, हमारे चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि हम मज़ीद आपके लिए हेल्पफुल वीडियोज़ लेते आएंगे। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। से लोग परेशान, बहुत से दोस्त परेशान। आखिर 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला कब हल होगा और कैसे हल होगा? इतने परेशान हो चुके हैं कि वीडियोस अपलोड कर करके थक चुके हैं, लेकिन उनके जो 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला हल नहीं हो रहा। किसी वीडियो पे 2 व्यूज़, किसी वीडियो पे 1 व्यूज़, किसी पे 15, किसी पे 20, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 50 व्यूज़ आ जाते हैं, लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा व्यूज़ नहीं आते। इस तरह से लोग बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो चुके हैं कि आखिर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है और हमारी वीडियो वायरल में क्यों नहीं जा रही और हमारा जो चैनल है ग्रो क्यों नहीं कर रहा, जबकि एसईओ वगैरह सब कुछ हम कंप्लीट करते हैं। तो दोस्तों, जैसा कि मैंने पिछली वीडियो में भी बताया था कि इसमें मेन चीज़ होता है एसईओ, उसके अलावा होता है CTR वगैरह, उसके अलावा होता है कि चैनल किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो में जान है या नहीं है। सबसे मेन चीज़ आपकी कंटेंट है। अगर आपका कंटेंट अच्छा है, एक बार आपकी वीडियो लोगों तक पहुंच गई, तो अगर YouTube आपकी वीडियो एक बंदे तक पहुंचा रहा है, अगर वो देखेगा तो मज़ीद 10 तक पहुंच जाएंगे। इस तरह से करते कराते बहुत लोगों तक आपकी वीडियोस जो हैं वो पहुंच जाएंगी। लेकिन आज की वीडियो में आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन देने वाला हूं जिसकी वजह से आपकी जो वीडियो का मसला है वो हल हो जाएगा। तो आपने कोशिश करनी है कि आपने कुछ दोस्त इकट्ठे कर लेने हैं, जैसा कि इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कहीं से भी आपने दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपके चैनल को एक बार सर्च करें और 1 या 2 वीडियो आपकी वॉच करें। जब एक बंदा आपकी वीडियो को ओपन करेगा या आपका चैनल सर्च करेगा तो आपका जो यूट्यूब का चैनल होगा वो मज़ीद ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर देगा और लोगों तक पहुंचेगा। अगर आपके चैनल पे 20 लोग सर्च करते हैं, आपके चैनल के नेम से 20 लोग अगर आपके सर्च करते हैं, तो आपका जो चैनल है वो बिल्कुल स्पीड के साथ ग्रो करेगा, यानी ऐसे जाते हुए एकदम से ऊपर चला जाएगा। आपने कोशिश करनी है कि कुछ लोगों को कहना है, कुछ दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपका जो चैनल है वो सर्च करे यूट्यूब से, ताकि आपकी जो चैनल का रैंक बढ़े, उससे वीडियोस के व्यूज़ वगैरह अच्छे हो जाएंगे। तो कोशिश आपने यही करनी है कि आपके चैनल पे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आएँ। जैसे ही सर्च करते जाएंगे, अगर आपके चैनल से 20 या 40 या 50 लोग सर्च एक बार कर लेंगे तो आप समझें कि आपका चैनल वायरल हो चुका है। तो ये थी छोटी सी इन्फॉर्मेशन। अगर पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक एंड चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, ये हमें अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव्स वगैरह क्यों नहीं दे रहा, अनलिमिटेड बूस्टर्स क्यों नहीं दे रहा? आखिर मिस्टेक कहाँ से होती है, हमने कहाँ से डाउनलोड करना है और किस तरह से इसको इंस्टॉल करना है, आइए आज की वीडियो में हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे जो मेन बात यह है कि आपने इसको प्ले स्टोर से नहीं उठाना, क्योंकि ये प्ले स्टोर में जो अवेलेबल है वो आपको फ्री में नहीं मिलेगा। तो इसको आपने डाउनलोड करना है गूगल क्रोम से। वहाँ से आपने सर्च करना है, लिखना है कि कैंडी क्रश सागा APK मोड। लेकिन आपको वहाँ से भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे जो कि आपके पास वर्क नहीं करेंगे और इंस्टॉल नहीं होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए बहुत ही आसान तरीका आप लोगों के लिए मैं लेके हाजिर हुआ हूँ। वो क्या है दोस्तों, आपने जस्ट मेरे लिंक पे क्लिक करना है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड करके अपने मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल कर लेना है और आपने इंजॉय करने हैं अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव, अनलिमिटेड उसके बूस्टर्स वगैरह, अनलिमिटेड आपको ऑल के ऑल मिल जाएंगे। तो जिस तरह आप चाहें बिल्कुल आसानी के साथ उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, कैंडी क्रश सागा को एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, कोई भी इसमें मुश्किल पेश नहीं आएगी। तो आई होप आपको आज की इन्फॉर्मेशन पसंद आई होगी। वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर कीजिए, हमारे चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि हम मज़ीद आपके लिए हेल्पफुल वीडियोज़ लेते आएंगे। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। बहुत से लोग परेशान, बहुत से दोस्त परेशान। आखिर 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला कब हल होगा और कैसे हल होगा? इतने परेशान हो चुके हैं कि वीडियोस अपलोड कर करके थक चुके हैं, लेकिन उनके जो 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला हल नहीं हो रहा। किसी वीडियो पे 2 व्यूज़, किसी वीडियो पे 1 व्यूज़, किसी पे 15, किसी पे 20, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 50 व्यूज़ आ जाते हैं, लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा व्यूज़ नहीं आते। इस तरह से लोग बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो चुके हैं कि आखिर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है और हमारी वीडियो वायरल में क्यों नहीं जा रही और हमारा जो चैनल है ग्रो क्यों नहीं कर रहा, जबकि एसईओ वगैरह सब कुछ हम कंप्लीट करते हैं। तो दोस्तों, जैसा कि मैंने पिछली वीडियो में भी बताया था कि इसमें मेन चीज़ होता है एसईओ, उसके अलावा होता है सीटीआर वगैरह, उसके अलावा होता है कि चैनल किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो में जान है या नहीं है। सबसे मेन चीज़ आपकी कंटेंट है। अगर आपका कंटेंट अच्छा है, एक बार आपकी वीडियो लोगों तक पहुंच गई, तो अगर YouTube आपकी वीडियो एक बंदे तक पहुंचा रहा है, अगर वो देखेगा तो मज़ीद 10 तक पहुंच जाएंगे। इस तरह से करते कराते बहुत लोगों तक आपकी वीडियोस जो हैं वो पहुंच जाएंगी। लेकिन आज की वीडियो में आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन देने वाला हूं जिसकी वजह से आपकी जो वीडियो का मसला है वो हल हो जाएगा। तो आपने कोशिश करनी है कि आपने कुछ दोस्त इकट्ठे कर लेने हैं, जैसा कि इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कहीं से भी आपने दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपके चैनल को एक बार सर्च करें और 1 या 2 वीडियो आपकी वॉच करें। जब एक बंदा आपकी वीडियो को ओपन करेगा या आपका चैनल सर्च करेगा, तो आपका जो यूट्यूब का चैनल होगा वो मज़ीद ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर देगा और लोगों तक पहुंचेगा। अगर आपके चैनल पे 20 लोग सर्च करते हैं, आपके चैनल के नेम से 20 लोग अगर आपके सर्च करते हैं, तो आपका जो चैनल है वो बिल्कुल स्पीड के साथ ग्रो करेगा, यानी ऐसे जाते हुए एकदम से ऊपर चला जाएगा। आपने कोशिश करनी है कि कुछ लोगों को कहना है, कुछ दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपका जो चैनल है वो सर्च करे यूट्यूब से, ताकि आपकी जो चैनल का रैंक बढ़े, उससे वीडियोस के व्यूज़ वगैरह अच्छे हो जाएंगे। तो कोशिश आपने यही करनी है कि आपके चैनल पे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आएँ। जैसे ही सर्च करते जाएंगे, अगर आपके चैनल से 20 या 40 या 50 लोग सर्च एक बार कर लेंगे, तो आप समझें कि आपका चैनल वायरल हो चुका है। तो ये थी छोटी सी इन्फॉर्मेशन। अगर पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक एंड चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, ये हमें अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव्स वगैरह क्यों नहीं दे रहा, अनलिमिटेड बूस्टर्स क्यों नहीं दे रहा? आखिर मिस्टेक कहाँ से होती है, हमने कहाँ से डाउनलोड करना है और किस तरह से इसको इंस्टॉल करना है? आइए आज की वीडियो में हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे जो मेन बात यह है कि आपने इसको प्ले स्टोर से नहीं उठाना, क्योंकि ये प्ले स्टोर में जो अवेलेबल है वो आपको फ्री में नहीं मिलेगा। तो इसको आपने डाउनलोड करना है गूगल क्रोम से। वहाँ से आपने सर्च करना है, लिखना है कि कैंडी क्रश सागा APK मोड। लेकिन आपको वहाँ से भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे जो कि आपके पास वर्क नहीं करेंगे और इंस्टॉल नहीं होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए बहुत ही आसान तरीका आप लोगों के लिए मैं लेके हाजिर हुआ हूँ। वो क्या है दोस्तों, आपने जस्ट मेरे लिंक पे क्लिक करना है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड करके अपने मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल कर लेना है और आपने इंजॉय करने हैं अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव, अनलिमिटेड उसके बूस्टर्स वगैरह, अनलिमिटेड आपको ऑल के ऑल मिल जाएंगे। तो जिस तरह आप चाहें बिल्कुल आसानी के साथ उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, कैंडी क्रश सागा को एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, कोई भी इसमें मुश्किल पेश नहीं आएगी। तो आई होप आपको आज की इन्फॉर्मेशन पसंद आई होगी। वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर कीजिए, हमारे चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि हम मज़ीद आपके लिए हेल्पफुल वीडियोज़ लेते आएंगे। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। बहुत से लोग परेशान, बहुत से दोस्त परेशान। आखिर 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला कब हल होगा और कैसे हल होगा? इतने परेशान हो चुके हैं कि वीडियोस अपलोड कर करके थक चुके हैं, लेकिन उनके जो 10-15 व्यूज़ का मसला हल नहीं हो रहा। किसी वीडियो पे 2 व्यूज़, किसी वीडियो पे 1 व्यूज़, किसी पे 15, किसी पे 20, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा 50 व्यूज़ आ जाते हैं, लेकिन इससे ज़्यादा व्यूज़ नहीं आते। इस तरह से लोग बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हो चुके हैं कि आखिर ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है और हमारी वीडियो वायरल में क्यों नहीं जा रही और हमारा जो चैनल है ग्रो क्यों नहीं कर रहा, जबकि एसईओ वगैरह सब कुछ हम कंप्लीट करते हैं। तो दोस्तों, जैसा कि मैंने पिछली वीडियो में भी बताया था कि इसमें मेन चीज़ होता है एसईओ, उसके अलावा होता है CTR वगैरह, उसके अलावा होता है कि चैनल किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो किस टॉपिक पे है, वीडियो में जान है या नहीं है। सबसे मेन चीज़ आपके कंटेंट है। अगर आपका कंटेंट अच्छा है, एक बार आपकी वीडियो लोगों तक पहुंच गई, तो अगर YouTube आपकी वीडियो एक बंदे तक पहुंचा रहा है, अगर वो देखेगा तो मज़ीद 10 तक पहुंच जाएंगे। इस तरह से करते कराते बहुत लोगों तक आपकी वीडियोस जो हैं वो पहुंच जाएंगी। लेकिन आज की वीडियो में आपको कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन देने वाला हूं जिसकी वजह से आपकी जो वीडियो का मसला है वो हल हो जाएगा। तो आपने कोशिश करनी है कि आपने कुछ दोस्त इकट्ठे कर लेने हैं, जैसा कि इंस्टाग्राम या फेसबुक या कहीं से भी आपने दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपके चैनल को एक बार सर्च करें और 1 या 2 वीडियो आपकी वॉच करें। जब एक बंदा आपकी वीडियो को ओपन करेगा या आपका चैनल सर्च करेगा, तो आपका जो यूट्यूब का चैनल होगा वो मज़ीद ग्रोथ करना शुरू कर देगा और लोगों तक पहुंचेगा। अगर आपके चैनल पे 20 लोग सर्च करते हैं, आपके चैनल के नेम से 20 लोग अगर आपके सर्च करते हैं, तो आपका जो चैनल है वो बिल्कुल स्पीड के साथ ग्रो करेगा, यानी ऐसे जाते हुए एकदम से ऊपर चला जाएगा। आपने कोशिश करनी है कि कुछ लोगों को कहना है, कुछ दोस्तों को कहना है कि आपका जो चैनल है वो सर्च करे यूट्यूब से, ताकि आपकी जो चैनल का रैंक बढ़े, उससे वीडियोस के व्यूज़ वगैरह अच्छे हो जाएंगे। तो कोशिश आपने यही करनी है कि आपके चैनल पे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग आएँ। जैसे ही सर्च करते जाएंगे, अगर आपके चैनल से 20 या 40 या 50 लोग सर्च एक बार कर लेंगे, तो आप समझें कि आपका चैनल वायरल हो चुका है। तो ये थी छोटी सी इन्फॉर्मेशन। अगर पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक एंड चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़। कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, कैंडी क्रश सागा, ये हमें अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव्स वगैरह क्यों नहीं दे रहा, अनलिमिटेड बूस्टर्स क्यों नहीं दे रहा? आखिर मिस्टेक कहाँ से होती है, हमने कहाँ से डाउनलोड करना है और किस तरह से इसको इंस्टॉल करना है? आइए आज की वीडियो में हम स्टार्ट करते हैं। सबसे जो मेन बात यह है कि आपने इसको प्ले स्टोर से नहीं उठाना, क्योंकि ये प्ले स्टोर में जो अवेलेबल है वो आपको फ्री में नहीं मिलेगा। तो इसको आपने डाउनलोड करना है गूगल क्रोम से। वहाँ से आपने सर्च करना है, लिखना है कि कैंडी क्रश सागा APK मोड। लेकिन आपको वहाँ से भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे जो कि आपके पास वर्क नहीं करेंगे और इंस्टॉल नहीं होंगे। लेकिन इसके लिए बहुत ही आसान तरीका आप लोगों के लिए मैं लेके हाजिर हुआ हूँ। वो क्या है दोस्तों, आपने जस्ट मेरे लिंक पे क्लिक करना है, वहाँ से डाउनलोड करके अपने मोबाइल में इंस्टॉल कर लेना है और आपने इंजॉय करने हैं अनलिमिटेड मूव्स, अनलिमिटेड लाइव, अनलिमिटेड उसके बूस्टर्स वगैरह, अनलिमिटेड आपको ऑल के ऑल मिल जाएंगे। तो जिस तरह आप चाहें बिल्कुल आसानी के साथ उसको इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, कैंडी क्रश सागा को एंजॉय कर सकते हैं, कोई भी इसमें मुश्किल पेश नहीं आएगी। तो आई होप आपको आज की इन्फॉर्मेशन पसंद आई होगी। वीडियो पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर कीजिए, हमारे चैनल को भी सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, क्योंकि हम मज़ीद आपके लिए हेल्पफुल वीडियोज़ लेते आएंगे। तो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, अपना ख्याल रखिएगा। अल्लाह हाफिज़।